Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Those young guys, Demario Davis, Keyshawn Boutte.
Douglas.
I got to be able to say his name, Boutte. I did not witness this, but he said booty. God damn it. Booty lined up wrong. He's extra business. He's extra business.
I'd like him to block first.
Long-time listener, but he has a bone to pick with Evan. Although before he picks the bone, he says he's been a great addition to the show.
Just pick the bone.
Yada, yada, yada.
He actually takes a stand on topics and is willing to stand up to Paul while Fred watches in Glee.
That's accurate. Scott, I don't know if you know, but Fred just likes every team that wins the title. Like,
Just shut that up. You're on Wi-Fi here. I know every site that you went to.
Really?
Yeah, you know.
Should I
like-
not do that Pornhub stuff
Yeah,
at work?
you probably should.
No?
You're always late for the show. Now I know why.
In his city Sal's brain, he was like, holy crap, did you see that?
But in French.
Yeah.
I call him pig in an urban setting.
Oh.
Urban setting.
City South.
I'm not even paying attention, and that made me laugh.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Fueled by Duncan.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's another 2 hours of Patriots Unfiltered, talking about everything Patriots and everything else going on in the world. Haze,
Fires.
brown haze out there.
I know.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Anyway, tomorrow will be an OTA that we have access to, and Catch 22 will catch you up on that right after practice. So look forward to that tomorrow. But right now we're still talking about what we saw on Tuesday and anything else that's going on out there.
I think that we maybe pick up the Hopkins talk because it's now officially he's going to visit the Titans, DeAndre
Okay.
Hopkins. So
All right.
we had a lot of talk about him, starting to take some visits now. I would say probably the Titans maybe need him a little more than the Patriots. I think I saw a stat that Mike Vrabel has more career catches than any receivers on the roster right now, which is pretty good. So we'll see. I think that's not till next week, though. Is that right? I think it was next Tuesday.
Yeah, it
maybe.
sounds like he's going to go on a whole free agency tour.
Oh. It's
If
gonna
you were
be
go
good.
take some
DeAndre Hopkins,
visits.
what would possess you to sign with anybody while these voluntary things are going on?
Well, that was definitely talked about as well in one of the report, and maybe Rap Sheet or someone said he's not in any real hurry to get into mandatory minicamp territory.
I can't blame him there. This
or
guy doesn't
anything.
practice during the regular season.
So what if it comes down to the Patriots and the Titans, and the Patriots get him? Does Vrabel not show up for his induction because
right.
he's pissed off?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I do think that. I mean, the Titans really do need him. I know, jokes aside.
Yeah, they have.
Mack or Tannehill / Will Levis. I might pick here.
Yeah.
That's just me though. Maybe.
Well, I wouldn't, but
Why is that, Paul?
because I don't think
Because you
Mac
hate
is-
the Patriots.
Because I don't think Mac is as good as Tannehill. I thought that was kind of self-evident.
You think Mac is worse than Tannehill?
I didn't think that was a code. No, I mean, I would go to Tennessee for the first reason Mike said, because the Titans don't really have anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
Jalen Burks, that's about it.
Right, but why?
They
then
still
why
have,
would
like,
you go
Smith
there?
So he could get all the targets.
I know, but they're not going to be good.
Oh, well,
They have no receivers.
Doesn't he want to ring, Paul?
now I don't think that. Now I'm going to remove myself from this conversation.
No, but honestly,
I don't think the Patriots are going to be good either.
No, but who's going to be better, the Titans or the Patriots this
I
year?
think that's a coin flip.
Yeah, I'll go Patriots.
I go Patriots also.
So do I. Yeah.
That Titans quarterback situation. Say what you will about the Patriots quarterback situation, but
They got to figure it out. Yeah, because,
They're a
obviously
disaster.
Tannehill's on the back nine at best.
But if Will Levis is, they go to him early and maybe he shows something, Derrick Henry stays healthy and gets rejuvenated a little bit, then
Yeah,
well,
they're
they might have
definitely in a rebuilding phase. They stripped it down. Tennessee's not going to be very good this year, I don't think.
What do you think? Has your percentages gone up of him coming here, Hopkins?
I still feel like it could happen. I really do. I think Evan laid it out well of just like he's a depreciated asset now. Like he's right in their wheelhouse of, maybe they're going to have to get into a little bit of a bidding war with some of these teams but I don't think that you're talking about huge money. And I think like Paul said on the show on Tuesday that when he does sign somewhere, if he does sign somewhere else, I feel like it's inevitable that the money's going to be, we couldn't have done that. Like that's what the deal's going to be. So so why not? Why not go for him right now and bring him in and you don't have to cut Devontae Parker the next day. You can let everybody kind of come in and see how it all looks. Maybe if you want to, or maybe wait till camp and see how it all comes together. But I still think it could happen.
I totally agree with you. I think there's I liked Evan's phrase with that depressed asset thing because I think that is Bill's wheelhouse. I think that's absolutely accurate, and I think there's a chance. I think I said this Tuesday. I don't think if we're looking at it after Hopkins signs somewhere, I don't think people are going to be saying, well, you know what, that was too much money. I wouldn't have done it either. I don't think very many people will say that because I don't think it's going to be one of these $20 million contracts. Like, what are they giving DeAndre Hopkins at this? I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think that there's also this narrative out there that he's ring chasing at this point with like an elite quarterback, and he's never said that. He's went on the I Am Athlete podcast a few weeks ago, and he said he has 3 prerequisites to what he wants. He wants a stable organization. He wants a team with a good defense because he feels like teams with good defenses are competitive. He said defense wins championships, and he wants a quarterback who loves ball. Not an elite quarterback. He actually said it doesn't need to be an elite quarterback because I've done it without elite quarterbacks. I just need somebody that really loves football as much as I do. And those were the 3 things that he said. And
he's coming to the Patriots.
And it does kind of check a lot of boxes, right?
Say what you will about Mac, but he does love football.
He loves football. They have Belichick here, so obviously you think their organization is pretty stable. They do have a good defense, and so that's why when a lot of this Titans visit came out, people are like, well, isn't he going to a contender? Like, isn't he going to play with Patrick Mahomes? He's never actually said that that's what he's 100% looking for. So I think that's important to mention because I've seen that out there.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, he's going to go where whoever gives him the most money.
Well, I think that's what it'll come down to is if he doesn't have a chance to go to a contender, it's going to be the most money.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with you, Fred. They almost always take the most money.
Yeah.
But I could see a scenario where he says, I'll take a few million less to sign with Patrick Mahomes and have a chance to win than I will with Mike Vrabel and not really have a chance to win. I could see that.
Yeah, I should say, too, I saw a report, I forget who said it exactly, but said that Cleveland seemed kind of unlikely right now. So that was the one team I mentioned on Tuesday that might have been in the running, and now all of a sudden here comes Tennessee. So we'll see where else he goes and what he ends up going.
I took the third part of Evan's thing with that podcast to be just a complete rocket shot at Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Right? That's all I was just thinking. I wasn't really thinking about any of the other 31 quarterbacks. I thought that was a not so veiled shot to say, because the guy I just got finished playing for doesn't care about football.
Yeah.
Like Madden.
Yeah. He also, he did list, like, he was asked on the same podcast, what quarterbacks would you want to play with? And he did list, like, all the best quarterbacks in the league. But what is he supposed to say? Oh, I'm going to go play with Will Levis.
Ryan Tannehill.
It'd be a lot of fun. Like,
They put Zach Wilson back in, I'd be all in the Jets.
Right. But I don't think that he's one of those people that necessarily feels like, oh, I need a ring before I retire. It doesn't seem like that.
I say it all the time.
Really,
I think fans would be really surprised with how little that factors in.
All right, over under 60% chance he comes to New England.
Over.
I'm under 60.
Under 60.
I'd be under 60.
Under
61.
I'd put it at 37.5%.
Push.
I mean, there's 31 teams.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
To say 60% for the Patriots,
I like Deuce's confidence.
Seems high.
The streets are whispering.
I know.
Yeah.
They're talking.
And he
I'll
knows.
tell you that.
I mean, he's got his ear
nowhere.
To Belichick's,
in my headphones.
Belichick's office. He can hear
I texted Deuce yesterday. I was like, the streets are talking a little bit about this.
Little buzz. Evan's contacts.
The blogs.
Did you see him at the Hertz counter?
Blog boys.
No, there's
the
one
blog
that would
boys.
almost
Okay.
work. It would almost work.
The Patriots Region blog or something like that. They're blogging.
Is this what it is? Your boys? Your people? Your people.
How long do they still my people here now? I've been here for
Once a blogger, always a
forevermore.
blogger. Yeah, they're always in the club. Yeah.
Fair enough. But none of those
wear
people
that.
I've heard. But I don't know. I just have this. I don't know.
I'm going to have to be nice with those people. I have a feeling my son's going to become one of them in about 3 years.
Really?
Are you going to be penning it
No.
under his name?
No.
Okay.
Just a little chatter. That's all.
All right.
Get
What
them
else?
making T-shirts.
What else do we got?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Oh, no. Why? Pay? What?
Running
is it? Yeah.
backs.
Just money.
Money.
He wants a new contract? Is this the last year of his deal?
I believe that was the case. He was looking for more. I mean, I know they're tight against the cap, but it doesn't make any sense to me for a team that has aspirations.
Yeah.
And to me, the NFC is wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw they're just going to flip it to Alexander Mattson, I guess, who's going to just take over for him. But running backs, I don't see really any need for him here.
You look up his
Patriots
status.
Social released another clip of Christian Gonzalez, one-handed catch.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring up the Keon White one from last week where he just
Okay.
like destroyed a blocking machine too. Like
I-
that
I-
one, I
like-
just was like, ooh, I
The
like
Gonzalez one, I could at least see, like, wow, he's a really big guy who is so fluid. Like,
Yeah.
his athleticism shines through. We all agree a little too much was made of the clip. But at least you can see, wow, this is a 6'3" guy that really moves well. The Keon White one, he hit a blocking sled and people lost their minds.
I mean,
We're
I
starved.
wouldn't want to be that blocking set. He looked pretty mad. You're making the most of what you can right now. But I'm really intrigued by Keon White now. I mean, have we really even seen him hand down in the dirt, like kind of working through the D line? All I've really seen him do is play outside linebacker right now. So I really wonder if that's the design on him. I don't want to say
big outside linebacker.
I know, but that's why I'm looking at like Hightower. You know, like I just like that's the closest
ya.
kind of like body type. that I can
I'm
kinda
very
see
high
that.
in this front seven. Very high in this
Yeah.
front seven.
I wouldn't read
interesting.
too much into it. I think that we talked about that.
Yeah.
Fred said
No, I
this. I think
know.
you do the thing that they don't know how to do first
Yeah.
to see if that's part of, to
Yeah.
use Evans'
I
thing.
totally
That's in
get
his
it.
bag.
I totally get it, but
Nice.
it's something I'm going to be watching every practice next week. Is just do they even at all? Like I mean, even because I think we all assume that on passing downs he'll be hand down somewhere in the ground, But I look at what they have. Anthony Jennings, probably their best after Judon outside linebacker, run stopper kind of guy, and there's just not a lot of depth there. So I could see the opportunity for him.
we all thought that
to
was
get
a
right
need.
out there and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely allow Judon to maybe tee off on the backside and not have to worry about holding the point of attack and playing the tight end side or the strong side of the formation. If you have another guy that's heavy-handed that can play that side and allow Judon to kind of play that designated pass rusher on the backside, and then you bring Uche in on third down, like that could be the formula for them moving forward. Can we talk a little bit about the rookie receivers? Because I don't want to get too much on the rookie
Just
receivers.
don't ask me to say any of their last names.
I've been a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. We've only seen 2 practices. I'm not trying to overreact or anything, but we get this question probably more than any other question, like into the mailbag and things like that. Like give us Booty updates, give us Douglas updates. Booty in particular, I've been a little underwhelmed. A little bit underwhelmed.
I have too. I think one thing positive that stood out to me, and this was last week, I was standing out in front of the radio studio, and he walked by, and it was the first time like we talk about getting a glimpse at body types. And that was one thing that I was like, he's got a little more thickness to him. Like he doesn't just on the hoof doesn't look like that guy's a slot receiver. Like he's got a little bit of thickness to him. But I agree with your point. I mean, they had an opportunity last practice without all those receivers there. Max still went to the tight ends, I think, most of the time.
Yeah.
I
don't think either one of those guys, and I'm really looking at him next week, right? I think that's really the big week for them. I don't think either one of those guys have done anything to make a roster push yet. And I think it's really early, and they're, like Bill said, they're drinking through a fire hose right now, especially at that position. But Douglas, maybe that first OTA practice, he caught some passes like underneath the defense out of the slot, just little dump offs and things like that. But Booty's really done nothing. And then he got chewed out by the coaches for being in the wrong spot the other day. So I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of those 2 guys, because you got to see something tangible to put them on the roster. You're not going to just throw them on the roster just because of they were drafted and they're receivers, so.
Yeah.
So, like I said, tomorrow we'll have full access OTA. And then Monday, Tuesday, and perhaps Wednesday, if they keep it, full access mandatory minicamp. So that'll be interesting. Everybody has to be there unless you're injured.
And we will do, Fred, PU shows throughout the minicamp.
That's
Monday,
right.
Tuesday,
Live.
Wednesday. We'll
So-
have live minicamp radio shows for PU.
Unfortunately, we don't have the time of the practice yet.
No.
Do you think they'll keep it 11:30?
I think
Yeah.
they'll keep 9:30 to 11:30, and we'll probably be.
But
on the
they
air.
haven't been 9:30.
No, but
Usually minicamp is this time, like what we have
Yeah.
for the OTA practices, like 11.
Okay,
11 to 1.
You think?
Oh, you think it'll be 11-1?
11.
So we
yeah.
have differing opinions.
Yeah.
I think so. That's what it was last year, right?
I thought it was 9:30.
I have no idea. I
11:30.
didn't remember that we did radio shows last year. I swear to God, I didn't
I thought
remember.
it was. Yeah, I thought it was.
I usually,
training camp,
I don't
but
know.
Can I
It
suggest
might have blended
Prevagen
with
for you, Paul?
Could be wrong.
CTE.
Prevagen.
Can you take Ozempic for
Yeah,
that
so we
too?
don't know what time, but whatever.
Heard bad things.
Ozempic.
Heard bad things about that.
Yeah, as soon as we know the time of the practice, we'll get it out there because that's when we'll start our show about 15 minutes before practice and go through practice.
Will we be on the side of the stadium?
We'll be up in the ramp.
Up in the ramps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you guys insisted that you wanted
I
to
was
be.
just making sure. I was just.
I got
confirming.
outvoted
the-
on that. 3-1.
100%.
Why? Where do you want to be, Paul?
I thought if we could go down like where we used to do it.
In the
Like-
bleachers?
Yeah. Well, no, the
they're
bleachers
gone
themselves
now.
aren't there right now, but we could set something up on that hill. But everybody else wanted to be up top, so
Ah.
I
up
like
top
the-
it is.
I like the all 22.
I like being up there. It's a good view. You can speak freely without other media people hearing you.
Stealing your
That is
takes.
true.
You know.
That's a
Stealing
very
my
good
takes.
point.
Yeah.
That's
so
a very good
They won't
point.
steal your takes, right?
They have to
Yeah.
go back and listen to the podcast, and then they steal it.
Right. Right. So they can grouse and we don't have to hear them.
I just have a hard time seeing from up there. Grandpa can't see that.
I
far.
gotta get some
That's
new
why I bring
binos.
binoculars.
I know. I gotta buy some
I
new
don't
ones.
have that kind of money.
I got 2 pairs of bum binoculars at my house, like that have both been dropped, and I'm like, do you fix binoculars? Do you just buy new binoculars?
Buy
like,
new ones. I would just
Buy
expense.
some-
Just go down to Bass Pro.
I would
know.
I would expense.
I
it.
might go over there today.
Buy some Bushnells.
Yeah.
That's what I had until that Miami game last year. I dropped them off in the press box off the ledge, and now I
Were
got
you so
one eye.
excited that we finally beat Miami? So you just like,
I threw it. We did it! And then Paul's like, Tua didn't play, you know. I'm like, shut up, Paul!
No, it
you're
wasn't
such a jerk.
Skylar Thompson.
And then Teddy Bridgewater, right? Like, didn't
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson get hurt?
Yeah.
We'll get him. We'll get him one of these days.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. I do want to mention, I was asked to mention, June 9th, which is tomorrow, right? That represents 6 months out for the Army-Navy game,
Yeah, Saturday.
which is actually going to be played here at Gillette Stadium this year. It's the first time ever in New England that it's been played in. It's the only Chicago in 1936 and Pasadena in 1983 has a game been played outside the mid-Atlantic states. So this is kind of a big thing to have Army-Navy in New England. So it's the 124th game in the series. Started in 1890. I'm looking at my notes.
says here.
The teams have met annually all but 5 years since then, and in every season since 1930. So, really cool.
So Fred, you make fun of me a lot for being like the jaded old guy that's done all these things and you don't get excited about anything anymore, right?
Yep.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Like, we have OTA on Friday, and I'm like, one of these OTAs
Right.
will go. The Army-Navy game, I'm jacked up
You're
for.
jacked up
Yeah.
for that.
I am.
Me
I
too.
think that like the pageantry that goes to now the ironic part of it is I can't stand watching that style of football.
Oh,
they're
it's a
both
terrible
Yeah,
They're
game.
both
Right.
going to play.
I'm sorry, it's an
Single
awful
smash
game.
mouth triple option football back and forth at each other, and that's not really what I want to watch. But for whatever reason, it doesn't offend me watching them play. Just how hard both teams go after
It
each
means
other.
so much
It
to
means
them.
so much to both institutions, and like I said, the pageantry that's in the stands. I can't wait. I'm going to do everything in my power to be here that day. I know both of my kids want to be here that day. I think that's a really cool event that we're bringing here.
Yeah,
for the
so
Army-Navy
I'm
game.
sure, like, if you're listening and you're, within earshot of Foxborough, the question is, can I get tickets? And the answer is no. Unfortunately, it's sold out. Army-Navy sold out their tickets. It's the earliest they've sold out, and they say that this first game in New England has created 3 times the normal ticket demand. So, yeah.
So I guess
But
I will not
there'll be a lot of cool things going on. If you want to kind of get the flavor of Patriots Place, we'll have a whole bunch of stuff going on, leading up to the game. There'll be merchandise in the you can go to New England Army Navy Game Store.com, New England Army Navy Game Store.com, and there's a whole bunch of Army Navy merchandise, specific to the game being here. There's going to be a fan festival Thursday and Friday before the game. You don't have to have tickets; just come. there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on in Boston by the U.S. Constitution and Bunker Hill. There'll be like Patriots games presented by USAA. So the cadets and the midshipmen like compete in all this off-field stuff. There's going to be a pep rally at Faneuil Hall on December 9th, that Friday. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So even if you can't go to the game, you can kind of get into the excitement and then go home and watch it on TV.
I was just going to highlight, I wasn't aware of this. On Saturday, they have the March On, which they say is one of the greatest traditions in college sports. I was not aware. The Brigade of Midshipmen and the Corps of Cadets march onto the field in formation. That takes place at noon on Saturday. I mean, that must be something pretty cool to see those guys, all at once coming in. So lots going on.
So they're saying for more information, you can go to GilletteStadium.com/Army-Navy. And it'll have all this info on it. So if you're, I didn't expect you to take notes, but GilletteStadium.com/Army-Navy, and you can get all the stuff that I just talked about and Deuce talked about.
Do you think Bill's going to be screwing with the Army guys a little bit, like Gatorade, warm Gatorade, that kind of stuff
Maybe.
with the Army?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be part of the pregame, right? I mean,
I would imagine.
Yeah, him and Cardona, they'll probably.
Oh, yeah.
maybe not Cardona.
And that weekend, the Patriots play on the Thursday night. That NFL week, so they'll play on Thursday night. So you have a couple days, unwind from that. The Saturday
doesn't
game,
seem
you
like
don't have a
that's by
game on Sunday.
accident.
No. Something tells me that wasn't by accident.
Yeah.
No, but that's, never before in New England, the Army-Navy game. Because it's not just a game. You're bringing up all the midshipmen, all the cadets. You got to transport them up here. And so it's understandable why they kind of stayed close to, Annapolis and,
West Point.
West Point.
It's usually in Philly.
Yeah,
they
play it in
times.
Philly and in Baltimore a lot. But,
Yeah.
there's not that much difference.
Weren't they in
there.
D.C. a couple years ago when the Patriots were playing there, like afterwards or something like that?
I think they
something
did play in
the vicinity?
D.C. in the last
Do we know
handful of
if
years.
maybe like the Veep or even Biden himself might come?
Well, I don't know, but usually they don't announce that until the day of, so that crazy people can't plan.
Crazy things.
Yeah.
Did you see the Air Force 2 come flying in with the Kraft helicopter?
Yeah, we got a helicopter pad. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go. Come right in.
So that's cool. So happy to announce, give some information about that.
Very cool.
All right. So back to Patriots football.
What do we got?
But we should mention this haze that's going around. It's finally starting to hit here. I was wondering why New York was getting hit before us, because we're north of New York. But I guess the way the
went
wind,
south.
Yeah, it went south and then is coming back up.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to clear up tomorrow a little bit. My son's in Washington right now. It's terrible there today. The pictures from New York yesterday were crazy. But I saw some of the teams, Philadelphia being one, moved their practice inside because of it. I mean, for good reason. I mean, it looks terrible. I mean, I think it's what was the word that they were? I mean, it's like hazardous.
And there were a lot of
definition.
Professional games in various sports that were canceled. I thought it was odd that some indoor games were canceled.
Yeah, don't they have filters on their air conditioning and all
Like
that
the
stuff?
WNBA game, I think that was supposed to be played in New York was canceled. I mean, obviously I think the Yankees and Mets both were out. I think the Nationals
Today the Nationals game got
and
canceled.
I think the Phillies may have been canceled.
Blame
too.
Canada.
Blame
Yeah, Freddie. Freddie at the meeting yesterday. Blame Canada.
That's the first thing I thought of. It's a catchy jingle,
Yeah.
It is Canada's fault.
So that's going on.
Well, it's like California. We had them there. I mean, it was
Yeah.
actually not consistent, but from time to time, it definitely happens out there in LA. I remember smelling. I mean, that was like smoke in the air.
Yeah,
Like, it
I
smelled
remember
like smoke, not just like dirty air.
The one time that we had one that was really bad when I was out there, we were only a couple miles from the evacuation line. So my parents and we were like calling relatives that were like not in downtown LA area that maybe I could go stay with for like a couple days, and you could just see the sky was it was the color of fire. Like the whole sky just like lights up like orange, like pink.
Was that when like the side of the 405 right near the Getty went up?
Yeah, and the sky is the craziest part to me. It's just it looks like you're in a inferno. It's
New York
it's pretty
looked
terrifying.
crazy yesterday. It looked
Yeah.
like a post-apocalyptic film.
Yeah, somebody did a really good job. You can see the Chrysler building in the foreground, or the Empire in the foreground, the Chrysler in the background, and next to it is Godzilla. And because of the haze, like it just
It
looked
could work,
perfect,
right?
Yeah, it just looked perfect.
It's scary. I hope they get that all out of here and out over the ocean and process so we can have our clean air again.
Need a big fan.
Yeah, big fan. Do we have that? Does Ernie have one of those? Is there anything Ernie can do? Can we call him
Oh,
the
sure.
weather machine? Does that work against
sure.
smoke?
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Let's go to the phone, see what people are thinking about. Patty's in Agawam. What's up, Patty? Patty.
So I may be in the minority here, but I think I made it pretty clear before, like, early on in the off season, that maybe it's the age of DeAndre Hopkins or the fact that he lost that. Everyone's saying that he might have lost the step, but I mean, do we really want to invest at least 2 years into this guy if he might be toast? I'm just looking at it kind of from a perspective where I was a few years ago with Julio Jones. I know that a lot of Patriots fans wanted to see Julio Jones come to Foxborough, but I think I was in the minority then that maybe the guy's toast.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so let's qualify the stage of his career. I think he's far from toast. Is he in his prime? No. Would he be probably one of the best receivers on this team right away? Yes.
Yeah.
So is it worth paying
Let's look it up.
Is it worth paying $15-16 million this year to have a better receiver than what you currently have? I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
It's a risk-reward thing. It might blow up in your face. It might be a bad contract or it might be a bad move, but the
your Randy
upside.
If it doesn't work,
is
you're back to where you
tremendous.
were. You're not giving up anything except
Yeah.
money. You're not giving up
Right.
any assets to get him. So why not?
So that was 2 years ago, right? For
Yeah.
Julio Jones?
Yeah.
It was heading into the 21 season. So his last year in Atlanta, he caught 51 passes for 771 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Literally the same production.
So
that
it's a
Hopkins
very similar year that
But
Hopkins
was
is coming
that
up
in
and
a full season?
and he missed time because he always misses time.
had. Right.
Julio Jones, and then he dropped down to 31 catches for 434, and then he dropped to 24 for 299 last year in Tampa. So Cousin Patty's not. The comparison is not terrible.
Right.
They're both great receivers, right? No one would say anything bad about Julio Jones and
Wouldn't
DeAndre
you say
Hopkins'
Julio
career.
is more down the field than Hopkins?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Julio was a specimen, an explosive specimen.
Yeah.
I think Julio was better than Hopkins.
Oh, in his
Yeah.
prime, I agree.
Yeah.
But I think they're both extremely physical, big, and durable receivers that have been highly productive throughout their career. And I'm just looking now, Evan, he played in 9 games.
Julio did?
His last year in Atlanta, he played in 9 games.
So it's literally the same
So it's
stat line.
literally the
Hard to
same.
copy.
I don't think Patty's way off. Now, that doesn't mean that they're both going to do the same thing. That's what happened to Julio Jones.
Right. Well, you just
And
wonder.
Julio Jones was older, I think. Looks like he's been. How many years has Hopkins played?
This is, oh man.
11 or 12.
Yeah, I
year.
want to say 11.
Yeah. How old is he?
31.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Bingo. Same.
Bingo.
Jesus.
Thanks, Patty.
I just think it's worth the risk. Whether
do
it works
too.
out.
Yeah.
Jones was 31 that year in Atlanta, that he caught the same amount. Basically had the same production as Hopkins.
I would just wonder if, Julio Jones, more athletic, more to fall down from, whereas Hopkins has kind of gotten by not being the fastest guy. And, I mean, at least he has some kind of concept of, I'm just faster and bigger than everybody. And, when that starts to go with a guy like, Jones, then it's more difficult. It's a more precipitous decline than, hopefully
I mean,
Hopkins can hang
if you
on
were
for a
to
while.
compare, would you I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but would you compare Julio Jones more to Calvin Johnson and Hopkins more to Anquan Bolden?
A little bit, I think so. A little bit, not crazy. I mean, I think Bolden was a little bigger and a little more physical than. But I think generally, kind of the roles probably similar.
Yeah.
I look at things a little different the way that Mike just explained it. I think the guy who's really athletic and then slows down, if he has those other kinds of traits, can find ways to continue to be productive,
Larry Fitzgerald.
which is what Anquan Bolden did.
Yeah.
Anquan Bolden
Yeah.
was ridiculously athletic when he entered the league. He didn't run a blazing fast 40 time. He never did. But I think his first game in the NFL, he had like over 200 yards receiving. His very first game. But then he lost a step, but had other things to fall back on.
He was a good route runner, and he used his body well.
I think sometimes when you don't enter with that high-end athleticism and then you lose a step, I don't care how much savvy you have, it's hard to fall back on something. Because now you don't separate. Now, I would make this move. I'm with these guys on Hopkins. I'm not going to sit there and tell you it changes my overall opinion of where the team can go or anything like that, but I think he's better. I think you guys said it very simply on Tuesday. He would be the best receiver you have. And for that reason, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for trying to make my team better. I think he would make the team better.
I just don't. I just also just not to pick on Patty, but like the money just doesn't. I don't care.
No one cares less about the money than I do.
It's the money and the salary cap. Like, if the contract ends up blowing up in their face and they have to eat the money, then they'll figure out the way to work around the salary cap. So it just, to me, it's just a boomer bust signing, and that's it.
Yeah, Paul, you touched on it, and that was something that I kind of thought about after we discussed this on Tuesday. Was like, does DeAndre Hopkins make the Patriots Super Bowl contenders? No. I mean, does he make them Super Bowl contenders next year? Definitely no. You know, so it's just one of those moves like you feel like you kind of have to make, but does it really move the needle where we all want it to go? It
He alone doesn't.
You know?
But if Mac takes a jump, and I'm talking beyond his rookie season, if he throws for 30 plus touchdowns and 4,000 plus yards, and you have D Hopkins, I think you're in the conversation now. I think being a playoff contender, and then anything goes, and then anything goes.
You could get in.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think that they could become a playoff contender. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's saying a lot because of the division. Because you're going to be a wild card, so you're going to have to beat out a bunch of teams just to get into the playoffs. So it's saying a lot to be a playoff contender.
I would just like to go into Buffalo one time and feel like if this game was played in the 30s, we might actually have a chance to outscore the Bills on the scoreboard. And Hopkins just makes it feel like that's more likely.
Like if our defense makes a few stops, we got a shot.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, how many times are we going to go into Buffalo with just going into the game knowing really we only win this game if it goes one way? Like if it turns into a rock fight and it's really windy or freezing or there's a blizzard or something like out of our control happens, because if we have to play Buffalo straight up, then we have no chance. Yeah. I need to move the needle.
Yeah, and I would say too, to Fred's point, like it's not even about what it's a lot about what Hopkins would bring on the field, but it's also just his arrival. It gives Mac some encouragement. It gives Mac a little bit of juice. Like, all right, I got another really good guy to throw to. Maybe that is something that can help get him to that season that like you said.
A professional wide receiver who knows the game, is crafty. Will get it. I think that can only help the team.
My brain can't get help but go to day one of training camp when the fans are lining up out there. What's the difference between if DeAndre Hopkins is on this roster or he's not? I think it's a huge difference. I think that's going to put seats in the butt.
Seats in the butt.
Wow, that was a good one. Seats in the butts.
Might want to sit the next one. No, I agree.
Know what I'm saying.
And I wouldn't. The whole does he make you a Super Bowl contender? That shouldn't be, and I understand it. Like, I get the theory and whatnot. I'm not making fun of anyone for thinking that way, that he's not going to make you a Super Bowl contender. But I don't think that should be the be-all, end-all with every transaction that you make. Well, is this guy going to help us? If he makes you better and you're trying to get better as a team, and yes, I do think Mac Jones is part of that. It's a position that would help Mac Jones. That helps your overall course.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to help maximize what you have in Mac Jones, you should be thinking about, because I think that's a big part of the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, and certainly this season, any success will hinge on how Mac Jones plays. You know?
You just look at the schedule, too. I keep on going back to the schedule and how difficult it is and how many offenses that they're going to play, even right out of the gate with Philly and Dallas and now with Rodgers and with the Jets. Like, you're going to have to score some points to win some games. And at some point, you have to recognize that and go all in everything that you can. I'm not saying, like, go sign Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, but, like, you have to do some things to get closer to be able to compete like that, because you're not going to beat every single team 20-17, especially with the offenses and the quarterbacks that are on their schedule. It's going to be some shootouts, and can you win one of those games? Because you haven't won one of those games.
I won't overreact to week one, but I think the Eagles kind of embody just such a fascinating first test of everything the Patriots kind of do and stand for, and what the Eagles have done and stand for, what their offensive scheme is, and how many fits that's given the Patriots.
They're a balanced team.
Balanced. They got a lot of friggin' guys from Georgia on the defense. But I mean, they just I think everybody is pretty impressed with just their team building approach, and I think the Patriots used to have that. I don't think they've had it lately, and it's just that it's a really interesting first game as far as the narrative goes.
All right.
Yeah, I understand it, and that's why I would want to make a move like that. Not because I think he's going to put me, well, now I can do X, Y, and Z, but he's going to help me do some of the things that I haven't been able to do now for 2 years. And I do think that that's part of, if you want to, people write in and they call in all the time and they ask us, what kind of things would you think would represent progress? These nebulous kind of, if he did this or if Mac did that and the offense did this and they showed signs of that. And we always say, well, you kind of know it when you see it. It's hard to just say, well, if he throws for X amount of yards and X amount of touchdowns. To me, if you can get, at the end of the year, there's no longer anybody rationally saying, Mac Jones shouldn't be the quarterback in year 4. That would be a very positive sign. And I think part of that should be trying to make sure that you have everything in support of him that you can. And that doesn't mean you bend over backward to do things that are going to hurt the team just to help the quarterback. This, to me, helps the team. At the very least, it adds depth at a position that I think you have a lot of similar players.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
If you have a lot of similar players, I think he would be the best player.
And to Evan's point at the top of the show with the 2 rookies, I mean, we don't want to bury them at all at this point, but, it's just something to think about. The depth is certainly an issue, like you said, and, if those guys don't pop, you're going to need another body.
And you have to remember that both of those guys were selected in the 6th round. Now, I understand that Booty is considered to be more talented than the 6th round, but it wasn't just because he fell out of favor at LSU. That's not why he went from the late 1st, 2nd round to the 6th round. It was because of his production, because of how he ran at the combine, the injury that he had with it. There's a lot of things that factored into that. Yeah. In addition to, Brian Kelly kind of asked them to leave.
That's what the only reason why I brought it up was to kind of temper expectations for those two a little bit, because I do think it's gotten. And maybe some of this was my fault. I don't want to speak for everybody.
Oh,
but
I loved that pick. I still love the pick.
But
I still love the pick.
I do think that now that we've gotten out there, like you said the other day, the top 4 veteran guys aren't at practice, and Booty and Douglas have this great opportunity to pop a little bit, and they kind of did nothing.
So it's funny that you said that. So that was kind of like the top of my blog thing on Tuesday, was that the thing that you were talking about during the show and during practice, I stole from you. I told you I was going to do it, about just how heavily involved all the rookies were. I didn't really accentuate the receivers because I didn't really see a whole lot from them.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, Gonzalez and White and, how they were involved, where Mapu went from linebacker one day of OTAs to safety and being active the next day that we got to see OTAs. I didn't really see a whole lot from Douglas or Booty. Doesn't mean that we won't see him. It was OTA practices. So I'm not writing them off by any means. But, yeah, I thought they were a little quiet.
No, I'm not writing them off, but these are the types of practices that you want to see receiver. There's no contact. There's no pads. Like, if you're not getting open and creating separation in the spring, then how are you going to do it once people can hit you?
If they don't bite when they're puppies.
I felt like, too, the coverage was a little bit – I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong on this one. But do you feel with Gonzalez, like, oh, yeah, he's the guy? Like, based off that practice, do you feel like, oh, he's the number one? Like, I felt like there was a lot of reaction of like, no, he's the number one corner.
Because he was out there. It's like we do this every year, and we all do it. I'm guilty of it, too. Again, I don't like to I make fun of myself as much as I make fun of everybody else. I know people don't always hear it that way. But when Bill tells you time and time again to not do that, we still all do it. Marpu was out there right next to Juwan Bentley the first time we get a chance to. Oh, my God, he's got a red jersey on. He's a rookie. Day one. The next practice we go out there, and Christian Gonzalez is at left corner. First play that we get to see him at OTAs, he's out there. Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. I think that Gonzalez is going to be the starter. I told you, Razai Dowling started week 1 as a rookie. Like, it's not going to be this way out of character thing for Bill Belichick to start a rookie cornerback in week 1.
Don't put that bad juju on him.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think it's more likely than not that he starts.
Yeah.
Week 1. You picked him in the first round. It's a need.
He should start.
Oh, if he doesn't, it's an upset. But I just want to pump the brakes on, like, he's a shutdown corner. You know, I'm like pump the brakes. We all want him to be, hey, go follow Stephon Diggs and take him out of the game. But I think that's way too lofty to expect for this
before
season.
we started, Evan was joking around about the stats that everybody compiles during during these practices. So and so was 8 for 9 during the competitive. But there was no competitive portion of practice.
And I will admit that it's difficult. It takes a while to train your eyes of, like, is this a live rep? Is this not a live rep? Like, where are we on, from walkthrough to full tilt? Like, what percentage are we going? But the stats that come out from these OTA practices is a joke. I mean, like, first of all, a lot of the time the corners are letting up and letting the receivers catch the ball just so that the drill can continue, like whether or not that they're actually catching it or not. So they're running like a kill the clock type of drill at the other practice the other day, and I'm pretty positive that the corners were being told to just let, because they're trying to work on the situation. They're not really necessarily worried about, going one-on-one. Are you going to catch it or are you going to stop it? They're just trying to play out. This is what happens when we're trying to get a first down to run out the rest of the clock. So, yeah, don't pay any attention to that.
Was he 6 or 7? Mac was 6 or 7.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Eldred's in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
Oh, yeah. There he is. Ooh,
hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Passionate honk there. Like it.
Yeah, yes, sir. Evan, all with you, man. It makes him better. I don't care if he is 31, 32. Go get him. At least we'll see what kick the tires on him and see, and that'd be good. But Fred, I listened to Tuesday's show because I couldn't get in.
Yeah.
You hurt my feelings, man.
What did I do?
Really hurt my feelings.
Okay.
About Randy Moss. Man, if anybody called, they lied. I told you when they picked him, Super Bowl.
Okay, well, I apologize. I forget. I don't remember that. But if you said that, then I apologize.
Yes, sir. I didn't predict the 17-0. I said we're going to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And if you play back that old clip, it'll say that.
Yeah.
I predicted we go to the Super Bowl.
Matt, why don't you get that
Randy,
old clip? Get that for next week.
To be fair, if they didn't have Randy Moss and you picked them to go to the Super Bowl, would that have been outlandish at the time?
Right.
No.
They're in the AFC
got
Championship game the year before.
I was excited about Dante Stallworth. I thought Dante Stallworth was the guy.
You guys know that I'm, probably as pessimistic as any. There was like a 11-year stretch where I picked them to go to the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah.
But coming off his year at the Raiders, people didn't really know what you were getting with Randy Moss, and that's why you got him for a 4th-round pick.
Exactly. But I said Super Bowl because during that press conference, he said you can get the Randy of old, and I believed him.
Okay.
And like I said, I knew Randy a little bit because, like I said, the girl I was dating at the time, his baby mama drama is her niece up in West Virginia.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that's how I knew. Yeah.
6 degrees of
so you
Eldred.
knew. You knew.
It's like Zion Williamson.
But
that was
other than
great.
that, some dollars just
That was
start,
great.
and y'all have a good one.
All right, thanks, Eldred. All right.
So we Julio was the comparison, and that one was spot on. It turns out statistically, Moss was 30 when he came to the Patriots. The year before with the Raiders, he had 42 catches for 553 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh my gosh.
Some of the conversations are similar between those two guys. How much do they want to practice? How much effort are they putting in? Like malcontents in their current position.
People thought he flat out didn't want to play.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Moss was a year younger, but I'm not saying that if they sign Hopkins, he's going to catch 23 touchdowns. But I think that there's, if you you could say it's Julio, but you could also say it's Randy Moss, right? Like, and that's sort of the
Hey,
point, right?
And let's play. We'll play. The positive side of it. Like, look at the impact that those high-profile wide receiver acquisitions had last year. With Hill and Adams and Brown. Is it completely out of the realm of possibility? Like, I know you were joking around. You said like 23 touchdowns. What if he got like 13?
Yeah.
If he got 23, what if he got like 13 touchdowns for you?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he vaults your offense to a different level.
Right.
Like, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for a great player to have one more great season.
Spend the money. Just get him here. Get him here.
I mean,
like if you're the Titans, maybe you don't let him leave today.
That's what I'm worried about.
He comes in and say, "You're not leaving. If you leave, deal's done."
Now you just can't leave.
Yeah.
It seems like Vrabes would do something
Yeah.
like that.
So
can we at least get a visit? Like, can you at least get a seat at the table?
I know.
That's the thing that
Has he seen the new video board? He's got to see the new video board.
Who's the agent that he chose?
guy that works for Clutch Sports.
I forget his name.
Not-
I did see
I
his
know the
name.
name.
He's
but-
not a friend of Bill.
You're not texting him yet, Evan?
Oh,
It's not Neil Cornrich.
Yeah.
I-
Or Drew Rosenhaus.
no, it's not true.
Alan Eagleson? No.
Alan Eagles.
Renaming agents? I don't know.
All right. A lot of emails coming in. Let's see. Alex has wondered about the background noise. Sorry about that. There is construction going on. So
It's a lot of beeps. There's like a cacophony of beeps.
Yeah, well, I know you weren't because I had checked with you earlier.
Yeah.
Fred, were you here when the evacuation happened yesterday?
yeah,
I didn't see you outside.
It wasn't an actual evacuation.
But how did you know that?
He gave it a Fred and was
Because it says if you listen, if after this announcement the signal stops, then you don't have to go out. So the signal started for
After
like
the announcement,
five,
the signal started.
for 5 seconds, and then it stopped.
Oh, well, everybody else went outside.
Fred's busy.
Not on our floor.
Well, I just assumed your floor
No,
was
I
gone
li-
by then. It was
I
well
actu-
after 4.
I actually listened to the announcement, and so we were good.
I
Was
say
a
that
fire?
I have a
Was a
3:30
fire?
tea time
What if there was a
tomorrow?
fire?
Let's see. Dylan writes in, just wanted to give a shout out to Evan. Love watching people say we need to get younger through the draft and get good, young, skilled position players. Then Evan says a second-round wide receiver going into their second year looks good so far. And then every call is people saying, let's pump the brakes. I'm glad I don't have to worry about people calling in to chastise me because Gonzo and Thornton look good, and I'm excited to see their production this season. I feel confident saying they will both be good players, and it's funny to me that people consider that a bold take.
I think one of them is a bold take.
Taekwon.
Yeah. I mean,
You didn't really see anything that would lead you to believe that's going to be a really good player.
I still don't know what we got on him. I
No.
mean, he was.
I'm not telling you he's bad.
Yeah.
But like Gonzalez, there's a freshness there. He's a rookie first round pick, and we love the athleticism. Let's see him play. But Thornton played a whole year and was kind of meh.
And that's what I like. I'm trying to find a comp to him of to be like, what could he be? And there's just not a lot of beanpole speed burners out there in the league. Like I don't know. I struggle. Just that's what it is, and that's stupid because he's his own guy, and you shouldn't have to rely on a comparison. But
I'll give you a couple.
yeah.
I have these.
Yeah.
I have these in the chamber.
I'm interested.
So I think the best one, just because of who the coordinator is Will Fuller. Now, Will Fuller, if he was healthy, would have been a 1,000-yard receiver for a long time. He just didn't stay healthy.
Correct.
And when I remember Will Fuller, I remember him being a bigger guy. I actually looked it up. He's basically the same size as Taekwon. He was a rail thin burner. That was exactly.
And he couldn't stay healthy.
And he couldn't stay healthy. So maybe he couldn't stay healthy just because he couldn't stay healthy and he's unlucky, or maybe it was because his body was too frail and he got hurt all the time. Yeah. I don't know. But he just watching how he was used in Bill O'Brien's offense in Houston.
Yep.
There's some similar comparisons.
That's a good one.
And
I like that one.
he hasn't broken out in the NFL yet, but Jamison Williams at Alabama under O'Brien had a great year, had his breakout season, and he's also a 6'1", 180-pound soaking wet 4.2 guy. So we'll see what happens with Jamison Williams in the NFL, but I think that those two, the way they were used within the structure of Bill O'Brien's offense, I think you can kind of take away as some similarities there, some overlap.
Tim from Duncan, our friends at Duncan, listening to you
Tim
guys.
Duncan?
Listening to you guys on Hopkins today and the chances of him coming to the Patriots. Unfortunately, I think he's not leaving Nashville without a contract. On a totally
that's what
different
Fred
note,
said.
My son walked by Paul on Tuesday in the stadium and immediately called me and said, "Who's that gray-haired guy you always watch and listen to?" I immediately said Paul Perillo, and sure enough, he said yes. This show is its best ever, and that's saying something. Catch 22 was great in its own right. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks,
Tim.
Thanks, Tim Duncan.
What was your son doing?
Yeah, I need more context.
He's selling
there.
Duncan. Maybe he's hawking Duncan.
He says
was
who
your
the
son
person
doing?
was, but he said it's off the air.
Okay.
For off the air.
I want to know if he breached security or anything.
Paul loves when he gets asked for autographs, so don't hesitate next time. Just Mr. Perillo.
I hate you.
You sign this?
Anyway,
Take a picture.
Paul says, yeah, I had to go speak to a class. He loves that. He gets up there and, has the ring and everything. And
I do enjoy
holds
speaking.
court.
That's accurate. I enjoy speaking to classes.
I know you do.
Do you want to kiss the ring?
I think that's cool.
I did that one time.
That
was
will
cool
never stop
class.
being cool
Yeah.
when someone says hello to you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that will never stop being cool to me. If
It's
that
all-
makes me a bad person, then
It's
I guess-
especially cool when it happens when I'm with Jess, because then it's like,
Oh.
oh, look at me.
See, not Paul.
Look at me.
That will turn. That will turn.
Beth doesn't care. Doesn't care for that.
Beth rolls her eyes and goes, "Please."
Andre from New Jersey. Here are my 2 bold predictions for the Patriots by the start of the season and when the season is over. That pig in the urban setting will be a starter over Trent Brown by week 1 or week 4.
Just a tremendous
About
line.
urban
I don't think that
You
got
urban
enough. I mean,
swine.
we all laughed and we all liked it.
It took me a
But
second
in
to get
listening
it.
to the Open today, I don't think we gave it enough.
No.
Not enough love
I
for
need
that
to know
line.
the origin of that, though.
My other prediction is Patriots will be in the AFC Championship game. All those analysts on television talking about the other 3 teams in the division will look like buffoons disrespecting this team. This will be Belichick and Mac Jones' revenge tour.
Wow.
What are they getting revenge about?
Can you imagine?
You don't want to get Mac Jones upset.
P.S. I know how to write good emails and become a real football nerd like Evan. Fred, can I come to work for you? Well,
No.
That kind of seemed like a shot at Evan.
We're not hiring.
That seemed like a shot at
There's
Evan.
only
I
there's
can-
only one
you can write
there's
good
only one nerd that's allowed to be here. All right.
nerds.
Just like there's only one Deuce.
Ray says, I'll be honest, I don't have a highly constructive email to write today, but I wanted to bump Fred's nickname for City South up another level. The second movie in the Babe series is Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Oh, I remember
I'm
that
surprised Hollywood Deuce didn't make the connection. And also, I noticed that Eric's replacement, Evan, properly used the term jettison during Tuesday's show. In order to fully supplant Eric, we need Evan to define flotsam and jetsam, and the cycle will be complete.
I can't.
Oh.
Were you
See,
part
at
of the-
least you admit it.
I heard.
No.
Were you part of the
Neither
flotsam?
could Eric,
I
but he
wasn't
wouldn't
part-
admit
We
it.
talked
I have no
about
idea
it,
what
though.
it is.
We did discuss that whole argument thing.
Yeah.
So say what it is. I'll do my.
Oh,
Eric
I
roll.
don't have
Just
that.
make
I don't
something up.
I don't have the top of my head.
No, Fred. That's not what I said. Yes, that's what I said. No matter what he said is what he said.
Right.
Even though it doesn't have anything to do
It's like
with
crap floating in the ocean. Isn't that what it is? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, one of them had to do with like actual stuff that was thrown off like an airplane because
Flotsam.
Was that the flotsam?
With the
part?
jetsam.
The jetsam.
Jetsam. Is it from
Yeah.
the jet?
Yeah,
or
I
is
don't
it from a fly?
Anyway, it wasn't what Eric thought it was.
Whatever it was, Eric butchered it.
Yeah.
And like Fred said, instead of just saying, I don't know, like Evan did, it went on for 45 minutes and Fred tortured him.
See?
All right, we're going to take a break. My food's here. When we come back, we'll have more
So
calls.
is
and
mine,
emails.
Fred.
Yeah.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots.
Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Bass Pro Shops, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including Six String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar. Watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix Esports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com.
How did Verizon build the fastest 5G in the world? We started by building it right with 5G Ultra Wideband. Then we gave it massive capacity and near zero lag. And it's not just fast, it's 25 times faster than today's 4G networks. This is 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. 5G Ultra Wideband available only in parts of select cities. Global claim based on open signal independent analysis. 25 times analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q2 2020.
when someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes.
Oh no.
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Some people are never content with simply being good. Not when they can be great. But it takes a big step to get there. In fact, it takes a leap of faith, a belief in what you're striving toward, and a willingness to make the commitment, day in and day out, to something bigger than yourself. Putnam is proud to partner with those who share their own commitment to performance excellence. This is Matt Light for Putnam Investments, a world of investing.
There's no season better than football season, and there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week, so head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Patriots fans, you'll want to check out the replay on this one. Pat the Patriot is stealing the show tonight with his Bank of America mobile banking app.
That's right, folks. So here we see Pat cheering, and then whammo! Is that Bank of America life plan?
Looks like he's saving up for some big future moves. Planning the next vacay, huh, big guy?
And wait, now he's paying back his buddy for concessions using Zelle? No penalty there. Incredible!
No way! As if that double move wasn't impressive enough, now he's beefing up his account defense with security meter? Holy cannoli, what a performance!
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Patriot fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/banking. You must be enrolled in online banking or download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Want to get into the game? Get coached up at Dean College. Equipped with exclusive academic partnerships featuring the Patriots, Revolution, Providence Bruins, summer baseball, and more, our classrooms are set up for success by learning directly from the pros. Dean College has programs in communications, sports management, business, and marketing with unprecedented hands-on experiences. Our students take what they learn in the classroom and put it right to work in the marketplace. At Dean College, our students don't just play games, we run them. Visit us at dean.edu.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots.
Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Bass Pro Shops, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including Sixth String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar. Watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix Esports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com.
How did Verizon build the fastest 5G in the world? We started by building it right with 5G Ultra Wideband. Then we gave it massive capacity and near zero lag. And it's not just fast, it's 25 times faster than today's 4G networks. This is 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. 5G Ultra Wideband available only in parts of select cities. Global claim based on open signal independent analysis. 25 times analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q2 2020.
when someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Some people are never content with simply being good. Not when they can be great. But it takes a big step to get there. In fact, it takes a leap of faith, a belief in what you're striving toward, and a willingness to make the commitment, day in and day out, to something bigger than yourself. Putnam is proud to partner with those who share their own commitment to performance excellence. This is Matt Light for Putnam Investments, a world of investing.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Patriots fans, you'll want to check out the replay on this one. Pat the Patriot is stealing the show tonight with his Bank of America mobile banking app.
That's right, folks. So here we see Pat cheering, and then whammo! Is that Bank of America life plan?
Looks like he's saving up for some big future moves. Planning the next vacay, huh, big guy?
And wait, now he's paying back his buddy for concessions using Zelle? No penalty there. Incredible.
No way! As if that double move wasn't impressive enough, now he's beefing up his account defense with security meter? Holy cannoli, what a performance!
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Patriot fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/banking. You must be enrolled in online banking or download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
And now, great moments in history.
Both terms refer to items found floating in the sea. However,
Correct.
Eric was wrong in
Nope.
stating that the distinction relates to the type of vehicle from which...
I misspoke.
Eric, we have it on tape.
I just said I misspoke, Fred.
You were clear.
Were you taking
No,
that
I
out
wasn't
of context?
clear.
There was no misspeaking.
Did you misremember?
The fact that you mentioned a plane is absolutely 100% wrong.
Yes, because I was thinking in my head jettison, and I was thinking
yeah,
jet,
so
and
wrong.
I said plane.
Right, you were wrong.
So that's
you
how
just
I
say
was
it?
remembering it, because he said jet,
But anyway,
jettison.
let me finish this. The correct distinction is that flotsam
know.
is
Yeah.
debris from a vessel that was
Flaccid vessel?
that was not
Excuse me.
deliberately thrown overboard, and jetsam is debris from a vessel that was deliberately thrown overboard.
Yes,
so the difference
I'm
is
aware.
you didn't say that.
Yes, I did say that.
No, you
Fred.
didn't. Eric.
I said when there's a shipwreck,
He
that's
kinda said it.
flotsam.
Yeah.
He
because
said when
it's-
it just floats.
When it just floats
it's
from a
flotsam,
shipwreck
but
and
when
it's
you
not
throw
even
it out,
right
it's
there.
When you
jetsam.
throw stuff off a
It's
jet.
thrown off.
But he was right
things
about
thrown
the
overboard.
action. He was wrong about the vehicle.
Right.
No,
It's
so?
things thrown overboard.
I said when there's a shipwreck,
Yeah.
the stuff that's the debris from the shipwreck is floating. That's flotsam.
That's not correct.
Listen,
according to this.
It is correct.
That's another great moment from
He just kept digging a hole deeper and deeper.
Oh, that went on for another half hour.
Yeah.
I just want to state for the record, did I misrepresent that story in any way? No. And another rare one that I wasn't really involved in.
Yeah, that was a good one, though. Yeah. That was a good one.
I'm nothing like that.
God, no.
You're not. No, you have your own oddities.
Fair.
Back here, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com is the email address. Deuce's mic isn't working. Oh no.
Did you break it, Deuce?
Oh, no. Oh, boy. Let's get
because you had so many ridiculous takes, so we had to cut you off.
Let's get back to some of these emails at webradio at Patriots.com. Neil from New Brunswick, I'm wondering if any of you heard Tom Brady's recent string of interviews. I heard the conversation with Rich Eisen. My opinion, he says all the right things, but is still pretty bitter toward the Patriots. When asked about Aaron Rodgers' chances of doing what he did with the Bucs, he said it would be tough because the Bills and Dolphins are really good, and then proceeded to take 10 seconds to remember the fourth team in the division, the Patriots. When asked about returning for Week 1 to be honored, he said he was excited, and then basically said it will be a miracle if the Patriots win because the Eagles are so good and apparently we're so bad. The nicest thing he can say is his kids were born in Boston. I would get your honoring in while you can because based... Oh, what happened? What's going on here? I would get your honoring him while you can because based on the way he talks, I would not expect frequent visits from TB12. Interesting. Did anyone else see the recent string or hear the recent string of interviews?
I'm sorry.
I would just say that I didn't, based on that summary, I didn't really see the shots.
Hello? Oh, here I am.
I think he was saying that he wasn't giving the Patriots a seat at the table in the AFC East because he mentioned the Jets and the Dolphins. But, I mean, to be fair, Brady is going to be on Fox as an analyst, and whether you think he's actually going to take that job or not, he's going to have to be somewhat objective, and he can't just wave the pom-poms for the Patriots all the time.
And he is going to be part owner of the Raiders.
Yeah.
No, but my point is, like, saying that the Jets and the Dolphins have improved and not really, talking about that's not a shot.
Right.
Right? I mean, did you take that as a shot?
No. Well, I didn't hear it.
I guess we didn't hear it, so maybe it came off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most optimistic Patriot fan would have to say on paper the Patriots are fourth in the division. Again, Evan's been saying it about Aaron Rodgers for weeks now. Like, he's not buying it. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't work with the Jets, the Patriots will finish probably like they did last year, neck and neck with the Jets, maybe one game ahead like they did last year. If Rodgers works, the Jets are probably going to finish ahead of the Patriots.
They could finish ahead of the Bills. Who knows? David.
No one knows, Fred. That's the beauty of it.
David in Bethlehem.
You have to wait till after the season to judge the schedule.
Would you rather sign Hopkins or use that money to extend Uche, Duggar, or Mills? Can't do everything.
It's not how it works.
Says David in Bethlehem.
It's not how it works at all.
It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to save money to extend Jalen Mills?
And you think it's going to cost you to sign Hopkins what it would cost you to extend Uche, Duggar, and
Mills?
But it's also just not how it works.
Whoever else he
like
said?
Uche and Duggar's contracts they're going to be extended for next season. So they're going to play this season under their current contract.
Correct.
And then the next season is when the cap will increase on those two guys, not this season.
And
so
again,
you're not taking
I
the
would
money
just
from
say,
the same pool.
Don't ever change because that's the way that Boston fans think about their teams. I don't understand it. I don't know why you
But
would
it's just
say
factually inaccurate.
I don't know
That's
why
just not how it works.
Yeah, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a really good player, but how's that going to work on the cap? Figure it out. Figure it out. That's your job. They have guys that's their sole responsibilities to figure out the salary cap. Figure it out.
Jess in Connecticut, are the joint practices open to the public? I'm going to be in Green Bay for the joint practice, and I would love to go to it if they're open to the public. If you have any details on them, what days they are, that would be appreciated. So
it should be.
Yeah, so look at the Green Bay game, and it'll be, that
I can
Tuesday,
tell you.
Wednesday, Thursday before. Oh, no. Were the games on Friday in Green Bay?
Games on Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, so it'll be Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday in Green Bay. And Green Bay will, because it's their place, they'll be the ones.
It's their rules.
Yeah,
Probably
their
the
rules.
16th and 17th of August.
And knowing Green Bay, I would imagine they will be open to the public.
Probably.
Right?
The public owns the team.
Right.
The whole place is open to the public.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say I think joint practices have to be open, but I don't know that for sure.
Let's see. Anthony in Seattle wants to have us explain pig in an urban setting. It flew over my head.
City Sow.
City Sow. Pig in an urban setting.
Yeah.
So,
Apparently
so
it's
the urban
Sioux.
setting would be city.
Right.
right?
I think you
and
should say
sow is another word.
Apparently, it's not. You don't pronounce it sow though.
Oh, really?
That's just what.
Who doesn't pronounce it sow? Oh,
That-
his name.
Whose honor?
City Sue?
Is Sue.
Oh, City Sue.
City Sue.
Like
Oh.
Deuce Sue.
Well, that changes the whole thing.
It changes the whole thing.
It does. So let's go with sow.
That's like that's why we can't
He'd
use
be
your,
like
your nickname.
He'd
Sexual.
be like an urban litigious person, right? Like Sue. You gotta sue everybody. Sue
This
everybody.
is listen. This is according to Phil Perry,
Oh.
who I trust on. He's good with the names because he goes and he finds them talking about their names in college, right? Like he found like the other day, Keyshawn Booty told a reporter at LSU it's booty.
Booty.
But he said it like booty.
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 Well,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't like booty. It was like
No,
booty.
no.
Because you got to have the Louisiana twang in there.
Right.
He does.
Also, Evan, can you please elaborate on how your new baby nephew Jason is named after your great uncle Jerry? Because at face value, I'm pretty sure he's not.
That's a good point. No. I can't tell you, but I did see him yesterday, and he's doing well.
How's he doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Gaining weight. Hair falling out.
He's getting a little bigger. Yeah, he's definitely a little bigger than day one when I saw him. So
Can I
or
actually,
day zero? Actually, I think.
That's really
Can
cool.
I bring up some Felger and Maz stuff to discuss? I was listening
Because
yesterday.
I don't know a lot of
Good
Felger and Matt
transition.
stuff. I haven't really been listening.
No, I tuned in yesterday. I just thought it was interesting that so they were kind of talking about the fight a little bit, and I didn't know who they were talking about at first, and they were kind of saying, this is a guy who's been here for a little bit, like he should be a leader. This shouldn't be happening. And I should say too, I didn't know at first that they were talking about the fight. I just heard them talking about a player that was here and should be a leader and those kind of things. And then it came to light that they were talking about Barmore. And I was a little bit like, I don't know, I don't really like necessarily need everybody to be a leader all the time. Like, I didn't like what I saw from the practice, but I was just curious what you guys kind of thought about Barmore in that regard. But also like, talking to Duggar.
If he can play and he plays, I don't really like. I don't need him
yeah.
to be everything. I just need him to be a good player.
But I found myself wondering, just like, because we talked to Duggar the other day, and I mean, he's so straight laced and tough as anything to get like any kind of personality or interesting stuff out of. Do you think that this is something like are we waiting for new leaders to emerge here? Like, do you think that there's a little bit of a vacuum right now? I love Dietrich Wise, and I think that he speaks well for the team and David Andrews, but those guys are kind of the lone holdovers, and you lose McCourty, and Slater's getting up there, and I'm kind of waiting for like,
and he doesn't even practice with the team. He's
right,
he's,
right. But I'm waiting for some of these new guys to just step up and feel like vocal leaders
That's
to
a
me,
good point.
and I don't really see any new players. And look, everybody can't do it. And I love Kyle Duggar as a player, and you don't have to be a vocal leader to be a good football player, to have a spot on a team. But I just found myself feeling like they're relying still on the same kind of guys. And when some of these young guys get up to talk, I'm not really hearing people talk about the team or talk about what we have to do. It's always kind of left to these older veterans. And so it just left me wondering of who are the next guys going to be? I mean, I know Mac, but I'm so used to Rodney Harrison, Willie, and all those guys that just kind of spoke for the team and spoke about what we have to do and those kind of things. And it just, as McCourty leaves, it feels like that number of guys is dwindling and not really finding new guys. Not that I expected Duggar to do it, but he could have been the kind of guy who's up for a long-term contract.
Sure.
To hey, it seems like he's taking ownership of this team now a little bit, instead of just being like one of the guys who needs to be told like what we have to do to win games.
It's interesting. I'm not even sure. Like, obviously, Mac needs to be a leader, but beyond that, who should it be? I don't know the answer to that.
I think the one guy that stands out to me when we talk to him is Juwan Bentley.
Yeah.
Like, he's an intense, well-spoken guy that it does have some personality, does have some good answers, I think, when we talk to him, and I think he could be someone that fits that. But you're right. I mean, they don't have. I mean, those guys were titans, right? Like McGinnis and Brewski and Vrabel. Like those guys were cut from a different cloth, and I don't even know. And this is a shot at people my age and younger. I don't even know if those people exist anymore, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know if that type of mentality and that type of person really exists at that level where, McGinnis was, notorious for being like one of those types of guys that helped
like
people accountable and was
kept everybody
all
in line
about
and
that and I don't know. I don't know if this generation does it the same way.
I like your Bentley example, but it's just my only, and I love
the guy, but he's also he's a player that everybody kind of sums up as like, well, that's a problem. We got to get rid of Bentley. We got to have a more mobile middle linebacker. You know, like you never said like, oh, well, yeah, Willie's a leader, but we got to get rid of him. You know, like that's a stupid probably ancillary thing. But yeah, I mean, I do really like Bentley. I wonder with some of these younger guys if they're going to take roles on.
Yeah, but who do you think it should be?
I mean, like I said, I wanted it to be Duggar, but I mean, I think, you know what, Fred? It probably speaks more to the fact that the team just doesn't have a lot of young star players right now. And I think sometimes that you're a star, you get that kind of mojo, people acknowledge it, and maybe that's why I'm putting it a little bit on Kyle Duggar. Just, you know, and I don't want to make an example out of him because I just don't think that is who he is. He's just a serious football guy. He wants to talk ball. He doesn't, you know, really want to worry about all that other stuff. So that's fine.
I think Christian Gonzalez is kind of the same way, though. Like he's a little bit more soft-spoken, and I don't know. I just don't know if that guy exists.
To Evan's point, let's look at the Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs. Obviously, Mahomes is the leader. Beyond him, who is it?
Chris Jones, Kelsey.
You think Kelsey's a leader?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gronk style.
I think Chris Jones up front in that defense.
Gronk style, but I wouldn't have called Gronk one of the vocal leaders of the team.
But Gronk was a Planet player, right? Like people got behind Gronk and
did it the right way.
Yeah.
Like for all the, there's a lot of similarities between Kelsey and Gronk. Now, I've always found Gronk more likable than Kelsey. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's because I'm a Patriots honk like everybody else. But I think for all their, you know, clownish behavior, their work ethic was never to be questioned. Both of them.
Yeah.
You know, and like Evan said, Planet players. So it's easy to lead that way, and I do think that they had the team in mind. You know, with how they go about their business. Like, you don't hear a lot about Kelsey. I mean, everybody has some things, but you don't hear him like blowing off training camp because he's looking for a new contract or whatever, or, you know, he misses a game with a bad ankle and it turns into misses a month with a bad ankle. You don't hear that a lot with those guys. I think those are leaders. Like, you don't have to be necessarily by the book. You know, he's the leader. He does, you know, like Devin McCourty.
At the podium.
Yeah. But I do think that those guys, I think a lot of those teams, they take the lead. To your point, Mike, about, like, where do you find it, you know, young or old? I don't know if you guys caught the ESPN thing that came out today. I think it was Seth Wilder. I might be mispronouncing that. It was behind the paywall on ESPN Plus. He ranked the core's top 5 players he defined as the core for every NFL team. And the Patriots ranked 27th. It was Mack, Judon. Are you looking this up, Evan?
Yeah,
because
I know what you're talking about.
So the Patriots ranked 27th in that. There was only 2 AFC teams behind them. Indianapolis and Houston were the only 2 AFC teams behind them in terms of the core of the team. And it's not necessarily young core. Like, Aaron Rodgers is a core for the Jets right now. So it's just the 5 players that you determine as your core. So when you look at that, Duggar, it was Duggar, Judon, Mack.
And I got to log in.
Barmore?
Uche, I think, was one. So it should, like, that's your core of your team, right? You should think that that's where your leaders are coming from.
Mack, Judon, Duggar, Uche, Mike Onwenu.
Okay. So Duggar and Onwenu are in contract years. Uche, 3 of the 5 are in contract years. So you might say, like, that's where I want it to come from. Well, you have to retain them.
Yeah.
You know, a guy who's been around a lot longer than people realize, Jonathan Jones. Is he just not that kind of a player? He's not really that outspoken leader type?
No, I don't think so.
So, like, sometimes it's just hard. You know, and you know, I kind of agree with Evan's point about sometimes, you know, those kinds of guys like Willie and Bruschi and Vrabel, they don't grow on Rodney. They don't grow on trees.
I mean,
They're
do you need them,
there.
though? Is the absence of that something that you feel like the team lacks, or is it just something that has to develop organically as they turn the corner and become a better team?
I would go with B. I think that they need talent more than they need, you know, I think the bigger problem they have right now, to me, is the lack of high-end talent than the lack of leadership.
Well, I think they need both.
Well, of course you need both.
I think you need those people, you know, during the week who just regulate. You know?
Well, I wonder what, like, say, the leadership hierarchy is in Los Angeles with the Chargers, for example, who I think do have some high-end talent. Now, I don't think they're as talented as a lot of people say they are, but I do think they have a pretty talented roster. Certainly one that's built well enough to win a playoff game. You know, they had a playoff game in the bag last year that they kicked away.
Yeah.
But I wonder what that hierarchy looks like. I wonder what like Joey Bosa and Derwin James, those kinds of players. I wonder if I don't know them. I'm not telling you they don't.
Yeah.
But I wonder if those guys are strong leaders as well as being the best players.
And one part of that, too, I think, is that the guys we mentioned, the Patriot guys, those guys were all kind of – they didn't just come to New England in 95, 96 and have it. Like, they went to AFC championships. They went to Super Bowl. They lost. I mean, they were established veterans who have been here a while. But I'd like to tie this actually to Paul and Matt's Pats from the Past with Scott Pioli that I listened to, which was excellent. I mean, different than the rest of them. And if anybody hasn't heard both parts, they're great except for the shot Paul took a Sharon. But that aside, one of the interesting things that Pioli said was that we never had to worry about the locker room at all because Willie and all those guys, they had it on lock. They knew exactly what needed to be done. They kept everybody in line, and Bill and Romeo and Charlie and all those guys could just focus on coaching. And that I think maybe that's where I kind of got this initial idea in my head of, certainly last year it seemed like the locker room wasn't policing itself. Like there was, I mean, it was as divided as it's probably been.
Yeah.
So just how do you get back to that? And it's a tough question.
Jason writes in, we should get D-Hop regardless of his age because simply having him on the field commands respect and could open up other opportunities for the other receivers such as Bourne, Thornton, plus Gesicki and Henry. We need all the help we can get. Love the show. Side note, I don't think the Jets are going to be as good as advertised with Rodgers. Okay?
Was that me? I just like my burner or something. I knew I took this survey.
There's a stunning line of thought among Patriots fans. I don't think that the Jets are going to be as good as people think.
Right.
I thought when you brought up Paul's shows, I thought you were going in a different direction, which I kind of find interesting. The biggest narrative around this team right now is that the head coach and the quarterback don't talk to each other at practice. Like that's the biggest thing, and I just think it's hilarious. Like I think it's so funny that the people go out there and like, do you take notes of like, oh, where Bill at this portion of practice, Bill was standing here and Mac was standing there.
That's a big Greg Bedardism. Like he goes on with them, and this is, you can call me like spiteful because they're not having me on. But he goes on, and that's what they talk about. And he says, yeah, Bill doesn't go anywhere near Mac. I'm like, how did you even know? Like, why were you watching that? Is my first reaction is, geez, I guess that's true, but I didn't really notice it. I just watched the practice.
Well, he keeps saying that Keon White wasn't at the first practice because he was.
He said it again. Did you hear that?
He's probably spending too much time watching Bill and
Mac. I did hear that when he was on Tuesday because Mike wasn't there. Well. I'll let that. I gotta let it go.
But we gave Greg a little crap when we were we were on the side. Like, Greg, 251's out there.
He reached out, but I got to be honest with you. I still don't think that he believes that he was out there the first OTA practice.
I'll take.
But so you guys don't make anything of Bill and Mac not being best of buds.
Oh no, I'll watch it now.
Yeah,
I'll watch. I do think if they really don't talk. I don't think that's good.
No.
Yeah.
No, he should be meeting.
But
with
I'm not
him
willing to accept the premise. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I haven't really noticed that that's the case, but maybe it is.
Because your shows then take it to the next step and say that now Mr. Kraft has told Bill that Bill O'Brien is in charge of the offense and that Belichick needs to stay away from the offense because it's Bill O'Brien's show and Belichick shouldn't be
that's
getting
where
involved.
I would completely divest of that because Josh was in charge of the offense. But Bill always talked to Tom. Like, I know that Tom Curran has had this thing that, like, the last 9 years, they didn't really talk. Bill wasn't involved in the offensive planning meetings. And that, I'm not telling you with 100% certainty that that's not true. I don't believe that to be true. That they didn't talk for that. Now, at
Tuesday meeting.
At the very end, yeah, I think that was true. I think Nick Caserio was involved in those meetings with Josh and Tom. And I don't think Bill was as involved as he was before. But I've watched training camp for 100 years, and I've seen Tom and Bill side by side all the time for, certainly within the last 9 years, which is what it was sort of purported to be. If they don't talk at all, and that's a thing, like they really don't talk, that's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Dan Reeves, John Elway. Now you can win if you're that good.
Careful,
But
Aaron.
they hated each other.
But it's a problem if they don't talk because that's just not a good way to run your team.
Right. It's not healthy.
Right. But at the same time, like, I'm okay with Bill O'Brien being the one that has the final say on the offense. Like,
yes.
Bill Belichick, you got your chance last year to run the offense, and it didn't go so hot. So like, let's let somebody else do it.
Like
I'm okay with that.
We all wanted, let's get back to normal, right? So we got that, and Bill's running the offense, and now everybody's looking at it like, whoa, Bill O'Brien's running the offense. What? Bill is Belichick not talking to Mac Jones? Well, that's a problem. Like, yeah, I mean. I think that we all want Bill O'Brien to run the offense, but we still want the head coach involved in everything, overseeing everything.
I want those Tuesday meetings still happening.
Right.
I want Max sitting down picking BB's brain every Tuesday,
Right. Well, that was the whole thing was, Cam said it, that Bill has like a crystal ball because he breaks down the opposing defense as a defensive coach and says, these are the 3 things that they're going to do to us schematically. And then he's able to then tell the quarterback, expect this, you look for that, like those types of things, and that's what those Tuesday meetings were all about. So if you got to have that at least. But in terms of like the schematics and the game plans and the schemes that they're installing into the offense, like that's B.O.B.'s show now.
You know what I didn't have on my bingo card was the picture that we put out on Twitter of Belichick, like apparently doing stand-up comedy for LeGarrette Blount and Aaron Dobson, like that. And Bill's like telling him a joke, like he looked like he was doing the palms up. Like
I missed the whole thing, like Chung and everybody.
We also got to talk to Adler about why he keeps on taking photos of other reporters. What about the reporters at Patriots.com?
He loves Brian Hines. He's always putting pictures of Brian Hines on there.
Looking through the binoculars.
Nice.
I don't need any photos.
I need a picture of Paulie Perillo.
How many cameras are on you?
How about me in my chair? My cool, come on.
I might need the chair tomorrow.
Murph's in Connecticut on the Ace Ticket Hotline. What's up, Murph?
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, Murph. How's
Murph.
Sully?
For the first time in a decade, I'm calling into a show.
Nice.
Oh. It is pronounced city sew, as in sewing machine.
So that's the third. That's the third different.
I think I got it
pronunciation.
wrong in my explanation.
Sue.
Yeah, that's
Sow.
no, great show today, guys. And Gonzalez, yeah, he's got to start week 1. The only thing everybody is missing here is we don't need Gonzalez to be a shutdown corner for everybody's number 1. We need Gonzalez to be a shutdown corner for everybody's number 2. That's it.
Huh?
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Good
All right,
Murph.
thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Murph.
I mean,
that's
like
Murph,
that.
by the way.
No, I mean that's been a way to do it. In the
Butchie
past,
Murph.
you put your best guy in their 2, and then you double their 1.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not saying like week 1 he has to shut down the other team's best player, but eventually I need him to be that kind of a player that I can line up against the other team's best player.
You would like to
and
think
I
he's a
feel
first-round
good
pick.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like I said, it doesn't have to be like right away.
Right.
But when that guy eventually needs to be a guy I feel good about every matchup that he's involved in.
So week 1, is he on A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith?
Sides.
Well, this is like my whole thing about like he just needs to shut down the number 2. Okay. So
Who's the number 2?
who's the number 2?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of you shut down the number 2 and then double the 1. I don't like that.
I think just play sides. I don't know. I mean, are they still a travel team like in man? I don't know if that's still going to be a thing. Like,
Yeah, they played man like 35% of the time last year, which was high, believe it or not. That
how much time?
35%.
35.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like 8th highest in the league.
35% man is 8th highest in the league.
Yeah.
See, those are numbers. You know how I always say, like, I need to know where the numbers relate.
Frame of
No,
reference.
that to me sounds like a low number.
You learned
but
that
that's-
from me, Paul.
That's
did I just say that?
The man coverage
You know
stuff
how you
is,
always say?
the teams play a lot less man than you would
Yeah.
be led
obviously.
to believe.
Certainly less than I would believe.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Franklin in Baltimore writes in, I wanted to comment on something brought up on the last show, which is that isn't the reason why the fans discuss so much about the cost of signing players because Bill's cost-effective approach has been his MO during his tenure here.
Yes.
I too find the whole thing pointless to talk about because none of that money is coming out of our respective pockets. and we should want the Patriots to sign every good player. But I do think, also as a fan, we can't ignore that BB values skill position players specifically at differently than the rest of the league, which is why, myopically, we go over contracts. I do want to stress again that I find the topic pointless and don't engage with it personally.
No, I think he's right. No, I think he's absolutely right. I think Bill has brainwashed the fandom into thinking that's why they've had success.
Yep. And I also
because of financial
couldn't agree more.
I mean, I don't
responsibility.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you like the 3 worst contracts he's given out, but I can tell you the 3 worst draft picks that he's given up. Like the draft picks is what that when you go to try to get, like, you spend a 2nd-round pick on Mohamed Sanu, like that's the things that bug me as far as burning assets.
He has convinced everybody that wide receivers are a dime a dozen. Right. That overpaying for wide receivers and drafting receivers in the first round, which they've only ever done one time, and we know how that turned out, and paying them in free agency or trading 5 draft picks for Tyreek Hill is a ridiculous trade. And he has convinced people that that's true, and I disagree with him on it. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves with him out of all of it, especially just looking at how maybe that was true 20 years ago, but that is no longer true now. And I think the rest of the teams around the league, so, Philly, they spent a 1st-round pick on Devontae Smith, and they traded for A.J. Brown. Are they in a bad shape? Did they do it poorly? Like, it's not just because I feel this way because I like fantasy football. Like, these other teams that have done it differently than you are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would say the 2 parts of that are the salary cap itself was once an enormous part of how you couldn't just sign every great player that you wanted.
Pioli, you talked about with Pioli.
Yeah, and I even got Scott to admit it.
Yeah.
Back then, when you were dealing with like $100 million salary cap, give or take, you couldn't afford to be making too many mistakes. You couldn't afford to be signing all of the best players because you did have to find a way to get enough players in to help you. Now, the cap is not anywhere near as restrictive. People have learned how to get, like that Leonard Floyd contract that Buffalo signed is ridiculous. That shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be able to do that. You sign him so the guy makes something like $9 million, and you're only paying him like $2 million on the cap because he's got like incentive for this and void year for that, and it's just all a bunch of crap. It's all bookkeeping is all the salary cap is. And if you do that and Leonard Floyd stinks, it's not great. But if he's good, it's not going to hurt you next year. And I just don't really understand why people haven't figured that out yet. Like
and
that it's the financial landscape of the league has changed so dramatically.
And that's where the cash spending argument comes in, because other teams like the Eagles, to use them as an example, they pay their way out of cap jail. So they add these void years, or they convert salary to signing bonuses, and they just literally pay their way out of hell. New Orleans, they do it every year. Every year, New Orleans is like $50 million over the cap, and every year they somehow figure out a way to be under when the time comes.
The individual season I always use for the Patriots is 2007. You couldn't be any more all in than the Patriots were in 2007. They were aggressive in free agency. They signed big money players. They traded for guys. They gave a guy like Wes Welker at the time, that was a big contract. I know it sounds stupid, 5 years, $17 million. At the time, that was a big contract.
Yeah.
And they went all in. They didn't win. And it didn't fall apart. It didn't fall apart. Like it was the next year, the quarterback tore his ACL and they still went 11-5. That's how good that team was.
It's one of Paul's most interesting takes that you have in your take bag of they could have got more. Had they been more aggressive, they could have got more.
That's more of an off-air one. That's not one I like to share on air because I understand, A, how spoiled it makes me sound.
But it's worth
and B, it's like comes off as like I'm criticizing Belichick after winning 6 titles. But I don't necessarily mean it that way, but I do feel like if they were all in a little bit more, like does anybody anywhere, forget New England, does anybody anywhere not think that the Patriots would have beaten Chicago in 2006 in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, right.
Oh, of course they would.
Okay,
So what was that contract you were holding out with
why
Branch
did you
on?
why did you lose to the Colts? Besides the fact that they pumped the flu into the locker room, Fred, they lost to the Colts because that game was in Indy. Does anybody think that Indy would have come back from 21-3 down?
Caldwell dropped the ball in the end zone.
You're getting to my point.
Yeah.
That game was in Indy because you had Riche Caldwell as your number one receiver. And Jabbar Gaffney signed off the street in the middle of the year. And Doug Gabriel catching passes. That's the only reason why you were on the road in the AFC Championship game that you still should have won.
Yeah. You upset
So, like,
the
if you
Chargers.
had tried everything in your power to keep either Givens or Branch, that's another title.
Yeah.
Right?
Branch, I mean, what was the Branch? I mean, what was he hung up over? Like, in retrospect, it probably seems ridiculous.
Right,
You're
and
talking
everybody
about $5
just
million
looks at the
or
buck.
something.
Well, I wouldn't give him that. No, he probably did get overpaid, but you would have won another Super Bowl if you kept him.
Yeah, and who's like lamenting? Well, we got one, but we really paid Deion Branch a lot of money, more than I would have given him. But who roots that way?
That's more of an off-air one because
I'll save that one.
It's a half-baked take.
It's a good one though.
Plus, you sound so spoiled.
Well, it's
like,
just,
and I don't like being
but I
like
think
that.
it's an interesting discussion. I mean, look, we are spoiled, and half the time it's going in the other direction. You're complaining, but
I don't know. There's so many things, even for great teams, so many things have to happen to go all the way, and to do it as many times, it's like I can't. Maybe they could have won more, but the fact that they won 6, I think, is amazing.
It is. That's why I don't like to spend a lot of time doing that one. Now, I'll talk about it off air with anybody.
All right, we'll yell about that one.
I will never forget Riche Caldwell's wide eyes after he dropped the ball, and just brutal.
That game was
Sam Martin hasn't gotten his T-shirt, Matt.
Jeez.
Sam Martin, former returner for the Patriots back in.
So
Sammy Martin.
He was the one that answered where Evan's favorite sub shop is. He says he hasn't gotten his
Jersey Mike's.
Had that for lunch.
T-shirt, yeah.
I've had some operational turnover in the admin department.
Oh, the shipping. Yeah.
Are you putting stamp postage on these things, or are you just like throwing it in the mail?
Poor Matt.
They're getting these prepackaged ones.
You still have to put postage on it,
Not these ones. You just put it in and fill out the address and then send them in.
Are you sure about that?
Positive.
It's just an envelope.
People have gotten their T-shirts with these.
There's nothing in it.
I don't know about that. I think you still have to run it through the postage meter. I don't know. I think there's some people at the U.S. Post Office that are getting free T-shirts.
Patriots Unfiltered.
Yeah. Bob in Wilmington, North Carolina. Should the Patriots really concern themselves with trying to outperform Buffalo? All they do is choke. They've never been able to perform when everything's on the line, and that includes their newest choker, Josh Allen, who subsequently just got on the cover of this year's Madden. You know what that means? Insert bone-cracking sound here.
that jinx has been lifted.
Buffalo had their chances back in the Kelly years, blew it, and they'll squander these years they have with Allen and choke some more. And just like Paul always says, it always works out for the Patriots. Can you think of any other team that has choked more ever in the history of the world? Don't worry about Buffalo this year. The Patriots are going to reestablish themselves as the class of the AFC East and roll into the Super Bowl.
Okay, you had me with the don't worry about Buffalo, but when you get to that end, that's tough.
I think there are some questions about Buffalo.
Yeah,
I think they're at kind of a crossroads, but I would say, I'll give you a controversial take. So the four in a row that they lost, right? They choked 4 times.
Wide left.
They choked once.
Yeah.
Wide left. Or
Or is
wide
it
right,
wide
whatever
right?
it was.
I don't
Wide
know.
right.
I
think
was
it
like 2.
That was a choke. They were better than the Giants.
Scott Norwood.
Yeah.
The other 3 games, they weren't better than the team they lost to, especially the 2 Cowboys teams.
Right.
And last year, I think you could call that a choke. That's a bet. You can lose to Cincinnati at home, like Kansas City lost at Cincinnati at home the year before, but you can't lose like that. They didn't show up.
Yeah.
They didn't come to play. Now I think there's some extenuating circumstances, but that was a choke. I don't care. I don't care what Buffalo guys want to, write it off as.
There was some off-field stuff going on before that game.
No, yeah, his guy, Mike's guy, Diggs has been bitchy for a while now.
And Josh Allen got broken up with.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like 2 days before the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's rebounded pretty well.
She's all right.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Punters, quarterbacks.
Did he tell you that when you met him? Because you guys were buddies
no,
after.
actually, but she was with him when I.
Did it look like it wasn't going good?
And it looked
so
normal.
in between,
and then it
in
turns
between
out-
that evisceration that they gave the
Yes.
Patriots
and
in the
yes,
playoff game that happened.
They broke up. Yeah, and this is like a whole rabbit hole that Bill's Twitter has
That's
gone
not
down.
good news for Patriots
No,
fans.
well,
that's not good news for Patriots fans.
So we come on here and we talk about like how Bill and Mac don't talk to each other. They go on Bill's podcast and talk about Haley Steinfeld, and like, is this good for Josh Allen that he's dating Haley Steinfeld? This is a real his
as long as
lady
she doesn't
drama
dump him
is-
before the playoff game.
His lady drama is all over Buffalo right now.
I just also with him, like, anytime you're going into a season with a quarterback who's like, really you'd think on top of his game, talking about how he has to change his game and stop taking chances and stuff, like, I wouldn't like that if I was a Buffalo fan, hearing that my quarterback is now in his own head questioning how he's going to play, because I think some of the times he's most dangerous is when he just lets it rip, when he goes for it, and I know it's dangerous, but I just wonder if you're going to get a Josh Allen this year who's questioning himself on top of guys like Diggs starting to be like, come on, like the window, this is it. We got to win now.
When is their stadium supposed to be open?
That looks
2026.
That looks like a crazy
So they'll win in 2025.
But it's a good
It's the way
point,
it works
though,
in the NFL.
about their window. And their window is now, clearly. And they'll be in it with Josh Allen, I think, until he retires.
Until he shows signs of not being able to physically play anymore.
But I truly think that their window to maximize what they can put around him is happening right now. And his playing style, that's his playing style. It's like Brett Favre, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to reel in the gunslinger, or are you going to just live and die with it, And they've been living and dying with it and dying. So
Boston Cream writes in, congratulations to Evan on having a girlfriend. Eric could never. So an obvious upgrade there.
That's another good point.
Yeah.
Boston Cream kills it.
He
kills it.
Thanks.
Let's see. What are the base numbers, if you were to guess, that Mac Jones needs to get the fifth-year option from the team? So, like, what's the minimum he has to do performance-wise for the Patriots to say, okay, we'll give you the option?
if you combine Daniel Jones' entire production, like, Mac's not going to rush for 600 yards, so add that to his passing total. If he has the same year that Daniel Jones had last year, production-wise, then he'll get the fifth-year option.
Okay.
Back in the day, the Super Bowl used to be on at 4 o'clock. Remember that, Fred?
Yeah. This was the game Brady was at. Is that this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The catch game.
The catch. Right. I lost my train.
No, I like Devin's thing there of Daniel Jones, because I think that's, you're not asking him to be Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. You're asking him to do something average. And I think chances are, you guys are probably going to be surprised with my answer. Chances are I think they'll pick up his option.
Well, it's just good to have the team control. Like, even if you don't end up being the team that keeps him on the fifth-year option, just to have the option to keep him around is probably the smart thing.
I'm just not hung up on stats. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
fine, but like, I'd much rather have see him, go 4-2 in the division, or like knock off Buffalo and knock off Miami or knock off Kansas City. Just get a game where your back's up against the wall
Win
and
some
nobody
games
thinks
in
you're going to
different
do
ways.
it. Like, just show me that and show me, that you've got some clutch in
Be
you.
the reason.
Yeah.
Win some games in different ways.
Be the reason.
Come from behind. Win a shootout.
I brought up Daniel Jones, too, because of the Giants season last year.
Yeah.
The arrow's pointing in the right direction for that team. I'm not a Daniel Jones believer, but they won a playoff game that they probably shouldn't have won, right, by beating Minnesota, and they're headed in the right direction, you would think, with Dable. So if that's the way that it looks in a year from now, the Patriots win a playoff game with Mac Jones and things are on the upward trajectory, I'd feel pretty good about picking it up.
Speaking Fresno, this may seem overly simplistic, but maybe the lack of rising young leaders is an artifact of the brain drain and lack of reliable leadership on the coaching staff. If you rightly or wrongly think your bosses are boobs, there's not much to emulate and not much motivation to even try. Wow.
I mean, look, it's all connected. I mean, I don't think you can rule any part of it out. Just like you can't put, one specific thing. It's all part of it. I mean, you've lost a lot of coaches over the years. You've lost, upper management guys. You had Bill going in 7 different directions last year. It's, it hasn't been what it usually was, that established kind of hierarchy. Everything's covered. You know who's doing what. And, I do think, and this goes back to, to Paul's podcast with Pioli talking about, the slappies and stuff that were on that. You wonder, are the Evan Rothsteins of the world, or, I think the DeMarcus Covingtons of the world certainly are developing into that. Is this the next level of those kind of coaches? And now, here in this year in 2023, are those guys, have they now acquired enough experience where you can just start getting some better returns? I mean, I think Mike Pellegrino's done a really good job with the cornerbacks that he's been given, and those guys have all been pretty productive, and they need more of it though.
Yeah, I also would say, like, why wouldn't that more encourage guys to be more, if they had questions about their coaching, which I don't really think they do. I think they had questions about Matt Patricia and Joe Judge being in charge of the offense last year. Like, let's not make this out to be now that they're all surrounded by boobs. But if you had questions about the coaching you were getting, wouldn't that encourage you to be more apt to try to lead? Like, listen,
It depends. It depends on the guy. Like, some guys just give up. What's the point? But other guys would lead more.
But now I've been critical of Mac, but I think you could say a lot of things about how Mac handled it last year. Giving up is not one of the things I would say about him.
No, I
negatively.
think reaching out to the, Alabama, if it's true, is not a sign of giving up. It's a sign of doing whatever he thinks he needs to do.
But I even think that whole thing of like the quote unquote gang of five, that's kind of a sign of leadership. Like, we need to do it.
Yeah.
We need to do this because we're not doing it right. We need to do it this way. Like, in a weird way, Kendrick Bourne.
I'd rather have a gang of 53. But
no. But I'm just saying, in terms of, this is more about a specific thing with Patricia and Judge.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, what Kendrick Bourne did, if he was in meetings and they were teaching the offense, an offense that he was familiar with, incorrectly, in a weird way, that's leadership.
Yeah.
And I've been critical of Kendrick Bourne too, but more as a player, not necessarily because he wasn't happy with the way that they were teaching stuff. If he thought they were teaching it wrong and he was voicing that, I think that's leadership.
All right, quick who am I game. Ready?
Who am I?
These are all Belichick era Patriots. I got a Super Bowl MVP truck despite not winning the award.
Malcolm Butler.
Incorrect, although it might be correct, but this isn't the one. I caught Tom Brady's last touchdown as a Patriot.
Josh Gordon?
No.
You can't guess again, Evan. You're out.
And I split reps in high school with Giovanni Bernard.
James White.
James White is correct.
I'm also right about Malcolm Butler, but that's
I think you're right, but yeah.
How did James White get a Super Bowl truck?
I think Brady gave him his truck after the Seattle game.
No, that was 28-3.
I think he's right.
28-3.
He gave the truck to Malcolm Butler.
He gave a 28-3 game?
The 28-3 game
Seattle.
would have been
the
James
Seattle
White.
game.
Falcons would have been James White.
I think Evan's right.
No, I know.
Right.
I know.
The game
unless he did it twice. I'm pretty sure he gave it to Butler after the Seattle game.
That's what I just said.
Then you said 28-3. That's not the same game.
No, I said 28-3.
Oh, okay. I messed.
Because we were missing.
I meant
James
the Seattle
White.
game.
Don't make me go all Eric on you. Yes, Fred.
No, I meant the Seattle.
That's what
game.
I said.
I meant the Seattle game.
I think Evan's right.
Well, it could have happened both times.
You know how I always agree with Evan.
Couldn't it have happened both times?
Patriots CB Malcolm Butler always keeps Super Bowl MVP truck.
Yeah. No, but did he also give it to
James White?
I don't know, but I'm going to say I was right.
I said you
Did he take Malcolm Butler's truck and give it to James White?
I said you could be right, but it might have been another time.
That's 2017. They took his
So,
truck.
so Tom Brady also gave one to James White.
Okay, he did it twice.
After 28-3.
Look at Tom Brady.
What a guy.
But apparently James White no longer has said truck.
Okay.
Oh.
Let's see. Next one. I have played both offense and defense for the Patriots.
Julian Edelman.
That could be wrong. So you're out.
That's why I didn't guess right away.
I was a team captain for one season.
One season.
Finally, my one touchdown may or may not have been a trick play, depending on if you were talking to Fred or Andy.
Landon Roberts.
Yeah, I knew it after the captain one, but I was out.
That's a giveaway.
How the cookie crumbles.
I have been to one Super Bowl but lost. That could be a lot of people. I caught my first touchdown reception from Jacoby Myers.
Ooh, Rex Burkhead?
Incorrect. Think about it, though. There ain't 32 MFers better than me.
Cam Newton caught a touchdown pass from
Jacoby Myers.
He did against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Cam Newton did?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
No, I remember him throwing one to Burkhead. I mean, my
Burkhead
mind
back
on
of the end
back
zone.
corner of the the far end zone.
It's, so one Super Bowl and loss, you immediately think who are the Patriots?
Right.
But
it's tricky.
Yep. All right.
That's a good the one Super Bowl and loss. That was a good little wrinkle.
Yep. My father was also an NFL player.
My father was also an NFL player.
I am a Ron Burton Award winner.
Dietrich Wise.
Incorrect.
Matthew Slater.
Matthew Slater is correct because he eats a lot of hot dogs. Finally, I left the Patriots for another team, but came back after it didn't go well.
That could be everybody.
Yeah. I have a bit of a potty mouth. No one? I cost the team 2 OTAs because I'm a double agent trying to deliberately sabotage the Patriots.
Joe Judge.
Right.
Double agent.
He's just kidding, of course.
All due respect.
Yep. Let's see. What else? James McLeod, our resident artist, has a rendering of young Evan speaking as Jesus in the temple to all the people.
Whoa. I didn't make that comparison.
Show your parents.
No, I did.
How proud.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were proud.
So I'm sure that will end up
Tunic
on Twitter at some point.
Yeah, I had a good T-shirt for Paul the other day. The "What Are We Doing" T-shirt.
Yeah.
I liked it.
We got to print those up.
Josh from Half Moon, New York writes in, I have 2 topics I'd like to bring up. My Patriots topic is, with the Patriots having plenty of cap space for next offseason, over $100 million projected by Over the Cap, do you see them spending any of that with extensions this preseason or in season? And who do you think would be in line for a decent extension?
Yeah, I think Doug Ronucci definitely. I think that's kind of MO for them too. Is extensions are looked at maybe August, September. I think Jonathan Jones maybe a couple years ago got his extension around that time.
Mason.
I think you get guys in, you see how they look in camp, and if you feel like the trajectory is continuing of what you think on the guy, then that's usually when they make the move. But there hasn't been a lot of those guys.
Off-season topic is mainly for Fred. My daughter will be competing in a national dance competition being held in Sandwich this summer.
Oh.
So we'll be out there for a week. I'd like to know the 5 best places to eat in Sandwich. That's a lot.
Have to order.
Yeah. So if you want seafood, the way it goes, it's bottom rung is Seafood Sam's, good, and then it goes the Pilot House, and then it goes Fisherman's View. But if you want fried chicken, you go to Seafood Sam's. It's a hidden gem.
Seafood Sam's, and this is all in Sandwich.
All in Sandwich.
Yeah.
They're all down by the marina, the canal there. Belfry. The Belfry is a good place. If you want Italian, you go to Tomatoes. Not to be confused with Sweet Tomatoes, which is a pizza place. You go to Tomatoes. Great Italian.
I dated a girl from Sandwich briefly in college, and we spent some time in
Cool
the
flex.
Sandwich Harbor.
Yeah.
He didn't say what she looked like.
Over-under game. Ready? Ramondre Stevenson combined yards, 1,550. 1,550.
Under.
I'm going under.
I'm going to say under.
Okay.
Because of the added options.
Team rushing yards, 1,950.
What they rushed for last year.
Wait. Oh, I could tell you.
Deuce, come on.
I could tell you.
If you can give me the number from last year, because they were a terrible running team last year.
All right, I got you.
18 and change, I want to say.
Yeah, 18-12.
Yeah, I'm going to say over.
I'm going to say over as well.
They have to be better.
Overture, 18-12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Taekwon Thornton combined yards, 750.
Combined what?
What do you mean?
Combined.
Like he's going to get
400 rushing.
Oh, he could have end sweeps.
I'm gonna say under, but I think my like realistic hope for him would be in the like 50 catches, 500, 600, something like that.
Team receiving yards, 4,100.
So just
it better be over.
Passing yards or team receiving, because those are 2 different things.
Oh,
team receiving.
Oh, yeah, they don't have that on here. They threw for 3,500 yards last year.
Because passing yards take sacks out of it.
Right, but I'm going to say over. Has to be over.
I'm going to say...
If I have to live to another year where I watch an NFL team not be able to throw the ball...
No, you won't have that.
I don't make enough for that.
It'll be like 21.
Mac Jones touchdowns.
Twice in the last 3 years I had to sit through that.
Mac Jones touchdowns versus interceptions, 24-10.
Well, he's 22 and like 12.
I'm going to
his
say
rookie
over.
year.
If you say over, what does that mean?
I'm going to say over both.
Yeah.
Over
Okay.
24 and over 10.
Okay.
I'm going to say
28-14.
I'm gonna say under 10. I think it's gonna be better protecting the ball, but I'm gonna say under on both. I think they're gonna run it in.
Defensive touchdowns 8.
I gotta go under there.
Isn't that a lot? That's
yeah.
like
That was like last year.
Yeah. Defensive interceptions 24.
They do get a lot of
no frame of reference.
I'm gonna say under on that one too. They had a lot last year.
Yeah.
Average penalty yards per game 45.
Oh my goodness. Under.
Under, really?
Under.
Okay. And Perillo nods 5.
Oh, that under.
Totally under.
I mean, they could be winning with like 1 minute left, and I think you'd be like, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Because they're tight. All their games are tight.
But I'll give you the
crazy.
nod when I think it's deserved. But
yeah.
Would you ever give the nod to this Patriots team in the first quarter of any game, even if they were
in
up
the first
like,
quarter? No. Not unless there was like snowing and the other team looked cold, like the Arizona Cardinals in 08.
Chris in Denmark has a public service announcement that the tickets for the Germany games will be out on July 11th.
Oh.
So Patriots fans,
get your tickets.
Buy them up. We want to.
I have gotten quite a few DMs about
Sliding
Germany
into your
tickets,
DMs?
and like, sorry, I can't help you with that. Sorry.
Mike, can you give me that media guy?
Little known fact, according to Matt Cook, who's from Rochester, he says James White also got a truck from Conan O'Brien after the 28-3 Falcons Super Bowl. This was after he gave away the truck that Brady gave him.
It's like, I don't want a truck. Stop giving me a truck.
Right.
I'm not a truck guy.
I think he gave like the Brady truck to like charity, like so like the Boys and Girls Club could use it or something
that's
like
probably
that.
right.
Yeah, you know.
James.
It's not like he gave it away to like his neighbor or something.
Is there a newer media guy? This is old. This is the 19.
That's the newest. That's the only one we got.
Okay.
Should bring another one down here though.
Let's see. David writes in, when we go undefeated in the preseason with future Hall of Fame quarterback Malik Cunningham leading the charge, could we finally get our undefeated preseason champions T-shirts? Or more likely, will the USPS workers get to use those as a new uniform?
Oh, that's
kind of a shot at Matt.
That's funny.
Yeah. Matt's like, yeah.
It would be interesting though if Hopkins does sign with the Titans. We'll get an up close look at him there. Week 3 of preseason down in joints.
And they'll be like, how come we can't get guys like that?
Yeah, and he's dusting Jack Jones or something.
Blows his knee out. Thank God. I went the other way.
that was dark.
There's some Enrique who does really good trivia. Has some really good ones. Maybe we can fly through. We got a few minutes. Enrique's from Monterey. Question 1. We all know the largest Super Bowl blowouts were from an NFC team over an AFC team. And he lists them all. But what AFC team holds the largest blowout over an NFC team?
Raiders over Washington?
Correct.
Good job.
Wow.
38-9 in 1983. Who is the only player in NFL history to win a Heisman, an NFL MVP, and a Super Bowl MVP?
Not Desmond Howard.
Not at Desmond Howard, no.
That's what I said.
Heisman, NFL MVP, and Super Bowl MVP. Marcus Allen.
Way before
these
my
are
time.
Yeah, these are old.
Dallas versus Rams.
Can't get a time to think?
Jeez. No, we got to hurry. Dallas versus Rams, San Francisco versus Green Bay, and Dallas versus San Francisco have played 9 times against each other in the playoffs, tied for the most in NFL history. What AFC matchup has played each other the most?
Pats Colts.
Incorrect.
What is the question?
What AFC matchup have played the most in the playoffs?
Pats Steelers?
Nope.
No?
Ravens Steelers.
Nope.
Okay, I'm done.
Denver and Pittsburgh 8 times.
Well, we had Steelers.
Denver and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I remember the Tebow one.
Oh, yeah, that was a great game.
2 more questions.
We made
What
the AFC
2 teams
championship
played
game.
each other a record 4 consecutive years in the playoffs?
What 2 teams played each other 4 years in a row?
In the playoffs.
3, 4,
You're doing Pats Colts there.
I'll give you a hint. The years were 95 through 95, 96, 97, and 98.
Denver.
Incorrect. Green Bay and San Francisco.
These are very obscure.
Are they?
They're just from the 90s.
Finally. Since the merger in 1970, these 2 teams have faced each other 12 times. However, one of the teams has never beaten the other team, making it the only matchup in the history with that weird fact. They've played 12 times, but one team has never beat the other.
Steelers, Cardinals.
No.
Oh.
No.
I don't.
The New York Jets have never beaten Philadelphia in 12 tries.
Oh, so they have another try this year.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a loss.
All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Tomorrow, Catch 22, immediately following OTAs. So that'll be about what time? 2 o'clock?
About 2-ish. Yeah.
Yes.
2 o'clock. So Catch 22, 2 o'clock. We will see you on Monday. Don't forget, Monday, live from practice. Stay tuned to Patriots.com for that practice time. That's when we'll have our show. We'll see you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.